Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's so good to have you here. This week we're going to be looking at burnout and the 3 truths to why we burn out. This is going to be such a juicy video. Remember, if you want more content like this, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and you like this video. But let's jump straight into the 3 truths of burnout and how you can live the best possible life. Okay, so if you are struggling with anxiety, feeling stressed, overwhelmed, and you just want clarity on how you can take small steps to being more calm, more present, and enjoying your life and your business so that you can go on this journey and actually enjoy the process, not just fight for the end result, then you're in the right place, because that is exactly what we're going to be talking about as we go through the 3 key things that you need to focus on to help you step away from burnout and start enjoying your life and business now. Let's go. So, if we get down to the first idea, burnout is caused by a lack of self-love. Now really just let that settle in for a second. Burnout is caused by a lack of self-love. You going on a journey to try and always have success and do the things that make you successful is actually what's fueling this idea of burnout. Because if you can't go on the journey and love yourself unconditionally, you will never be happy and you will always be striving and pushing and not able to just relax and just take in the moment and be present where you are. So it's really important to understand that self-love is the first step to curing burnout, because we need to be able to love the journey, the process, the step-by-step, adventure that we go on, rather than just focusing on what's the next outcome. And this is where so many people get caught up. Happiness and success are 2 separate entities. Let that really sink in. Happiness and success are 2 separate entities. When I was in a place of depression, in a place of massive burnout, going through, losing my big contracts, going through the process of not knowing what I needed to do and how I could make everything right in the world, I was pushing from a place of, this is what's expected of me. These are the expectations of how I'm supposed to live. I was looking at other people's highlight reels on Instagram and thinking like, okay, in order to be successful, I need to earn X amount. I need to have this type of wedding, or have, these type of holidays, or drive this type of car, or, order clothes from this specific place, or whatever it is for you, whatever the thing is that you are saying this is what equals success, you're stopping yourself from being happy until you have it. And that's not how we go through this process. So this idea of self-love, you need to be able to love yourself unconditionally every single step of the way, and make sure that you're open to the idea that there can be duality in your life. You can be so happy and so content and still want more. You can absolutely love the business that you have and still want to grow more. You can love the clients that you're working with and still want more clients. There isn't this, there can only be one thing. We have to go with that constant ability to move and go on the journey and grow. And that is what brings this happiness, is because we get comfortable with the process. We get comfortable with going through the stages rather than just waiting for the next outcome, just pushing for the next big thing and just being miserable the whole time that we do it. And then actually what we tend to find is your energy is out of alignment and you don't make the goal anyway. So you feel like you're putting in so much effort and off the back of it you're getting no return. So we need to shift this idea. What does success actually mean? Can success just mean that you love the process, you love the journey, you love what you do? And it doesn't have to be a metric or a specific number or a specific material thing. Can it rather be, do you wake up and feel excited every day? Do you wake up and love yourself every day? And this idea of self-love is the first step to moving through that. The second thing on the 3 truths list is the idea of self-control. When we are dealing with burnout, it is most of the time because we are trying to control things that are outside of our control. And this could be outcomes, this could be people, this could be how people respond to us. We will be fixating on something that is outside of our control and trying to force that reaction. Now, I want you to really understand this idea of control and influence. They are 2 separate paradigms. When it comes to control, the only thing that you've got control of is yourself. Yourself, your emotions, your reactions. Things that are outside of your control, but what you can influence, are potentially other people and how they react or respond to things. But you have got no control over how other people take on board what you're saying. And this is a really important thing to understand. When we think about this control versus influence, you need to focus solely on what you have control over. One of the favorite sayings that I've heard is that the most powerful woman in the world is somebody who is unwavered by things outside of her control. How incredible. Imagine if you created everything from an authentic place, from your truth, and you didn't worry about how other people might interpret it, or whether other people will think that you're doing well enough. How about you just focused on the things completely within your control, your actions, your words, the way you show up in the world? Because focusing on those and the things completely inside of your control is going to shift the paradigm of how you feel. Because we're going to be pulling inward and we're going to be giving more weight to our inward acceptance versus trying to perform for the world. The same idea of, meeting the right standards in life. There's no such thing. You are in control of your destiny. I can create content and some people will watch it and think, I don't like this person. They don't know what they're talking about. Other people will watch it and think, oh yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking 2-3 years ago. And you will sit and watch this and think, this is exactly what I needed to hear in this moment. And every single one of those realities are true. So it's not my place to sit and think, what about the people who are going to be further along on the journey? What about the people who are not going to even heard of this stuff and not going to understand it and going to think I'm weird? My job is to sit down and say, what am I in control of? I am in control of my thoughts. I am in control of my voice and what I choose to put out in the world. It's then up to the universe as to whether the right people find it. It's up to my influence on where I put it and how I show up in the world as to how many people get access to it. But I don't sit and create content and think, oh, I'm not going to create this because what if nobody watches it? Because that isn't helpful. And it spirals me out into trying to do more than I need to. And that is where we feed from a place of burnout. So it's just really connecting with this idea that the things that are within your control are the things that you can make a difference with. The things that are within your influence, you can influence and see if you can get a better result. But the things that are completely outside of your control, leave them alone. Let them be. Don't let them carry weight in how you see yourself or how you show up in the world. The world needs to see the truth. They need to see the authentic, beautiful version of you, not the one that is trying to be the person. Just go back to the things that you are in control of and let go of anything outside of your control. Other people's opinions, other people's emotions, how other people interact with the content you put out into the world, how other people react with the prices of the things in your business. None of that is your business. You do you, and I promise you, life will get easier. So, the third and final truth that I want to tell you about burnout is that the main creation of burnout is living in the past or living in the future. It's not living in the present. I hear so many people say, I will have freedom, I will not be burnt out, I will feel better when I achieve X. So when I hit X income goal, when I pay off X debt, when I sign X number of clients, when I finish X project, whatever it is, renovate the house, buy the car, whatever your thing is. By living in this constant future, we're never going to let ourselves enjoy the moment that we're in right now. A lot of people as well will live in the past. They'll say, oh, well, if I hadn't have done X, I would be happy now. If I hadn't have done Y, I would be happy now. And living in that place of regret is also not going to help you to have happiness. It's not going to help you to move away from burnout and come into a place of calm, content, happy energy. What I want you to think about is, what are the things that you're saying to yourself? I will be happy when. Yeah, I'll be more calm when. I'll be less burnt out when. I'll have more time or energy when. And think about what that looks like for you. Think about what you're saying to yourself is the condition of your happiness. And then look at how you could get present freedom. Present freedom. Not conditional, not something in the future, not something that you have to achieve, but right now in this moment, what could that look like? Now, an example of this, I always used to say, I absolutely love traveling. It's something that's really important to me. And I used to say, oh, I'll be happy when myself and my husband can go away on, trips, and we can go see different places of the world. And it's going to be amazing once we can afford to do this stuff. I put off any type of travel until we could afford to go, to Greece, to Italy, to America, to these big places. And what I found, especially when lockdown happened and we weren't able to travel abroad anymore, I was able to look at the situation and say, well, what can I do now? And we started to do some really amazing trips. So we went away to the local South Downs, and we did a hiking trip with overnight camps. We did some local exploring to areas that we didn't even know existed. One of my friends and I went up to the Yorkshire Moors, and we went swimming in waterfalls in the winter, and went to a beautiful retreat. All of these things were right on my doorstep. They were things I could have done over the past 5 years, but I always told myself that wasn't enough. I wanted the big, £6,000 trip around America for 6 weeks. And by putting a cap on what, this is the only way I can feel good, I limited myself to a future dream that we never ever lived. And we will one day, but it's not that important anymore. And this is what's really important to understand. When you look at what is it the thing that I love to do, the thing that makes me feel free, the thing that makes me feel present, the thing that makes me feel good, and for me it's traveling, and then ask yourself, how can I do that on a small scale now? What's a day trip I can do to get that feeling? What's a new place I can go and explore? What's a weekend away that I can do? Where is somewhere easy, accessible, and fun that I can go with my friends, with my husband, with my family, to live that experience now, to feel that good feeling now. And stop putting off, the big goal. Stop putting off and saying, oh, well, it has to look like this in order to be right. When we can bring freedom into the present, and that could be anything. It could be, I've always wanted to be able to work outside. So I'm going to find a way to sit outside at least for an hour a day in the summer and do some work. I've always wanted to be able to go to a coffee shop and do work in a coffee shop. So I'm gonna go and do that once a week. It costs me £5, but it brings all the inspiration that I need. You know, I've always wanted to be able to travel more. I've always wanted to take up a new hobby. Like, whatever it is, find the easiest possible way for you to do it, and do it today. Now, in the moment, in the present. Create the freedom now, because that is what is going to make the difference in your life. Going through and thinking about, how am I loving myself during this journey? How am I staying in my place of self-control and not focusing on things that are outside of my control? How am I bringing freedom into the present so that I'm living it now and not waiting for the circumstances to be perfect? We don't need to get to the end goal in order to have the thing that we want. We can have the feeling now if that's what we truly desire. Okay, so those are my 3 key truths about burnout. Key 3 things that you need to focus on in order to make sure that you are not burning yourself out and that you are bringing yourself back to a present state where you know exactly what you need to be focusing on. I would love to hear which one of those 3 resonated the most with you. Leave me a comment below. Definitely like and subscribe to make sure that you have access to the next video that comes out next week. I will see you then.